A satanic temple has set up a display inside the Iowa State House.
There was a satanic altar placed in the Iowa State Capitol. Let's show you the image here. The image is from Jack Posobiec. That is a satanic altar, okay, and that is the state capitol. And what Jack wrote there, and I've had Jack on the show several times, but this is going to be a sort of similar theme to what we just discussed with Dana White. Jack wrote, "This is what Kim Reynolds has allowed to be installed in the Iowa State Capitol. It is a satanic altar and idol." Now, it is a satanic altar and idol, but it has nothing to do with Kim Reynolds. And there's a reason that Posobiec is going after Kim Reynolds. I'll explain that in a second. It was community noted, which is the fact-checking apparatus of Twitter, as you guys know. The Iowa Capitol is controlled by the Iowa legislature, not Governor Reynolds. The Department of Administrative Services manages access for displays at the Capitol, which are open to anyone through an application process and do not discriminate on the basis of religion or ideology. Now, there is an absolute conversation to be had about these types of satanic things being put on public property, right? And I'm actually more on the side of that they should not be there. Let's just put that aside for just a second, okay? It had nothing to do with Kim Reynolds, as the fact-checking pointed out, but Posobiec, who is in Trump land, wants to hit Kim Reynolds because Kim Reynolds is backing DeSantis, right? So it has nothing to do with Kim Reynolds. But again, this was really going after DeSantis. And actually, you know who kind of did the thing that caused it so that the Satanists could have their things in the, yeah, it was Trump. Here's DeSantis last night. He did a town hall on CNN with Jake Tapper.
So it's interesting. I heard this and then I was like, well, how did it get there? Is that even a religion? And lo and behold, the Trump administration gave them approval to be under the IRS as a religion. So that gave them the legal ability to potentially do it. So I don't know what the legislature, how they analyzed it, but it very well may be because of that ruling under Donald Trump that they may have had a legal leg to stand on. My view would be that's not a religion that the founding fathers were trying to create. But I do think that IRS ruling, I was really surprised to see that they did that.
Okay, all right, so there's a sort of similar theme here to the opening of the show. I'm not just trying to attack people willy-nilly, but sometimes we get some wins on things. And when we get wins on things, we have to take those wins, but we also have to not make everything so political that when a satanic monument shows up in the Iowa State Capitol, you're like, oh, I can get Kim Reynolds over that because the guy I really want to get is DeSantis. And then, of course, it turns out that it was the Trump IRS that made them, a quote-unquote religious organization to get that tax exemption, and that's why they are allowed there. So you have to call balls and strikes, even when they're roughly on your same side, because that, again, is what will help us beat the real enemy. So the 10% differences, or whatever you want to think those differences are, those things, that's the space that we got to operate in. We got to kind of put those aside and go for the real enemy, but also acknowledge, let's not burn each other down at the exact same time.